HTML elements. But a Lightning Web Component is a reusable, okay, custom HTML element. It means we are building our own HTML element. Okay, and how a normal HTML element behaves, in the same way this will also behave. Okay, with its own API. API means application programming interface. It means a Lightning Web Component on its own without having any other uh, connection with any other coding. Directly the Lightning Web Component can interact with multiple other systems. Okay, so Lightning Web Component has its own API. Okay, fine. A Lightning Web Component is a reusable custom HTML element with its own API. Write down this point as definition for Lightning Web Component. Lightning Web Component definition. Write down this. A Lightning Web Component is a reusable custom HTML element with its own API. Okay, done. So, if you want to become an expert in Lightning Web Components, these are the concepts you need to learn. Okay, write down these also. Just write down the names. We will go into each and everything. Note it down. Fine. Under this, first let's go to the define a component. Okay. A Lightning Web Component that renders UI must include an HTML file, a JavaScript file, and a meta configuration file. The files must use the same name so that the framework can auto-wire them. A service component must include a JavaScript file and a metadata configuration file. Okay, write down this point. A Lightning Web Component that renders UI must include a Lightning Web Component that renders UI must include an HTML file, comma, a JavaScript file, comma, a metadata configuration file. Minimum these three should be there. CSS, SVG, these are optional, but definitely it should contain HTML file, JavaScript file, and metadata configuration file. And one more condition is the names of all these should be same. If I create sample3 lightning web component, then sample3.html, sample3.js, sample3.meta.js. Okay. So these are the files I will have. Okay. Write down this point, entire point, write down. A Lightning Web component that renders UI must include an HTML file, comma, a JavaScript file, comma, a metadata configuration file. The files must use the same name so that the framework can auto-wire them. Okay. The service component must include a JavaScript file and a meta configuration file. Service component means, see, in Lightning components, I have shown you there is a library. From there, we can use the component directly, right? Similarly, even for LWC, we have library. From there, directly you can copy paste. Even in that case also, you have to include the JavaScript file and metadata configuration file. That is the meaning of the last sentence. Is this clear now? Is this clear now, guys? Is this clear? Okay, so now let's understand the component folder. Okay, whenever you create a lightning component, what will happen? First of all, a folder, which is nothing but a bundle, will get created, which includes, see, if you have created a lightning component with the name my component, then my component.html, my component.js, my component.js hyphen meta.xml. Okay, my component.css, my component.svg. So the point here is these three are mandatory. Last two are optional, but these three are mandatory for every component that you create. That is the first point. Second point is the component name, the component whatever you have created, everything should have the same name, but only the extension will change. Here if you have given component my component 1, my component 2, my component 3, it will not work. You cannot give also. First of all, whenever you create the component with the same name, multiple files will get created. Each file will have a different separate extension. Okay, the folder and its files must follow these naming rules. Must begin with a lowercase letter. See, the component when we are creating, the first letter of the component should be always a small letter. It should not be a capital letter. Must contain only alphanumeric or underscore characters. See, must contain only alphanumeric or underscore characters. It means the entire name should contain only alphabets and numbers and underscore. No other special symbol is allowed. Like if you want to put underscore, you can put, but if you want to put at the rate symbol, if you want to put hash symbol, if you want to put percentage symbol, if you want to put less than symbol, if you want to put greater than symbol, no other symbol is accepted as the name. of a Lightning Web Component apart from underscore. Underscore is the only symbol that is allowed. Even space is also not allowed. Okay. Must be unique in the namespace. In one particular namespace, you cannot have two different Lightning Web components with the same name. So the name should be unique. Okay. You cannot include white space. As I said, white space you cannot include. Cannot end with an underscore. You cannot end the name with an underscore. If you want, you can put the underscore in between, but you cannot end it with an underscore. Cannot contain two consecutive underscores. As I am saying that underscore is allowed, you cannot put underscore two times. Only at a time you can use only one underscore. Okay. Cannot contain hyphen. Hyphen also you cannot use, because here we are saying only alphanumeric or underscore. Okay. Write down. Naming convention. Write down. Put the heading. Naming convention for creating a Lightning Web Component. Naming convention for creating a Lightning Web Component. Write down these points. Naming convention for creating a Lightning Web Component. Write down these points. Done? Okay. See here, there is one point that we need to understand. What we are saying is Lightning Web Component, we are following the latest HTML and latest web standards we are following. That is what we are saying in Lightning Web Components, right? So we are following the HTML standards that we are saying. Here, the point is, if you want to follow the standard of HTML inside the markup, so whatever you write between the less than and greater than, that is known as markup. So HTML is a markup language. Okay. Apex is a programming language, whereas HTML is a markup language. So all the tags, these are known as tags. Opening tag, closing tag, we will have, right? So HTML expects this kind of notation. Okay. Whereas if you try to give this kind of notation while creating the component, Salesforce will not accept this. Salesforce is expecting something like this. Salesforce is expecting something like this. Whereas HTML is expecting something like this with hyphen. So to resolve this problem, what solution Salesforce is giving, that you write, whenever you are writing something inside Salesforce, like you are creating a folder or you are creating a component, you give the name following the Salesforce naming convention like this. Then if you follow the camel case notation, then automatically it will be converted into kebab case in the markup. Okay. So what is camel case? What is kebab case? Camel case means if I have more than one word in this. See, in this there are two words. My is one word, component is one word. If there are two words or three words or 10 words, more than one word, if there is a one word only, it will be easy to understand. If there is more than one word, then to make it easily understandable, what are the options that we have? Giving space between the two words is one option. Giving underscore between the two words is another option. Giving hyphen between the two words is another option. Among these, which are the acceptable ways? Either give hyphen, sorry, either you can give underscore, hyphen and space are not acceptable as part of Salesforce. You can give either underscore or you can write it together. If you write it together, it is not comfortable to read. But if you make it like this, like my, this one word, component is one word, first letter, I will keep it small. But from second word onwards, I will keep first letter of second word as capital. Here the name is my component. In this, what I have done, component C, I kept capital. That is why you are able to read this. Otherwise, it will be difficult to read. So this kind of notation is known as camel case notation. Camel case notation means simply if you have more than one word, and if you represent first word, first letter with the small letter, but from the second word onwards, every word starting letter, if you keep it as a capital letter, then that kind of notation is known as camel case notation. There is another kind of notation that is known as Pascal case notation, in which every word, whether it is first word or second word, every word first letter will be capital and remaining letters will be small letters. That is known as Pascal case. Okay. This is known as camel case. So in general, in Salesforce, whether you are creating Apex classes, triggers, all these things, we follow camel case notation. Okay. So what here in Lightning Web Component, what he is mentioning here is, if you use the camel case notation, automatically you can convert that into kebab case notation. Kebab. You know what is kebab? Kebab means there will be an iron, you know, thin iron rod will be there, and you will put chicken pieces or mutton pieces or veg pieces to that, and you will put it on the fire and you call it as kebab, right? So this C hyphen my hyphen component, see here, this hyphen, if you look at it like a kebab, these are pieces, chicken pieces. This is C is one piece, my is one piece, this is one piece, and that line is going right, hyphen hyphen hyphen, that is nothing but the iron rod in your chicken kebab. Similarly, here kebab case is a notation wherein every word in this will be separated by a hyphen. That kind of notation is known as kebab case notation. So what is advisable to do here is, whenever you are creating any component or any naming you are giving in Salesforce, it is advisable to give in camel case so that it can be easily automatically converted into kebab case notation by the system. Okay. So just write down camel case. Just write down camel case. Okay. And write down this point. I will tell you, write down this point. Put the heading camel case and write down. If there are more than one words, if there are more than one words, and if the first word, first letter is a small letter, and if first word, first letter is a small letter, and if first word, first letter is a small letter, and second word onwards, and from second word onwards, and from second word onwards, every word first letter is a capital letter, and from second word first letter onwards, every word first letter is a capital letter. Then we call it as a camel case notation. Then we call it as camel case notation. Then we call it as camel case notation. Write down this one as example. Put example and write down my component. Just my component. My M small letter, C capital letter. Write down one more example on your own. My component name. My component name. This is the one you need to write it in camel case. How you will write? My M small letter, component C capital, N name, my component name, N capital, because all the words first letter should be capital apart from the first word first letter, right? So you have written the definition of the camel case and you have written two examples for that one. Now you write down what is kebab case. Write down. If there are, put the heading kebab case. Put the heading kebab case. Put the heading kebab case. If there are more than one words, 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 and all these words are separated by hyphen, and all these words are separated by hyphen, and all these words are separated by hyphen, with every word mentioned in small case, with every word mentioned in small case, with every word mentioned in small case, then it is known as kebab case. Then it is known as kebab case. Then it is known as kebab case. Write down the example, this one. My hyphen component. This is the first example. My hyphen component. This is the first example. If you have completed the first example, write down the second example. My component name. All in small letters. My hyphen component hyphen name. Okay. Okay. Next. Everyone completed till this point? Okay. Now write down this point. Use camel case to name your component. My component. Camel case component folder names map to the kebab case in markup. In markup, to reference a component with a folder name. Okay. So if you want to refer a component with this folder name, you can use this and inside your markup. Okay. Write down this entire line, then you will understand. See, the point is, I have written a component, I have written a folder like this. I want to refer this folder inside my HTML. If I want to refer a folder inside my HTML, then I can write like this directly. So it will understand. But there, if you put underscore, if you can see, the point here is, let me put it in notepad 1 second. What I want to show you is basically, okay, if I want, I can write like this, my underscore. This is also a legal name. Okay, this is also correct. Okay, okay, this is also correct. And this is also correct. Okay, I can write like this also. I can write like this also. I can write like this also. But the advantage of using camel case is, if you use camel case, then in the HTML, it will come directly as C hyphen my hyphen component. Then it will be easy, this will become the component. So then what happens, it will be easy for any web developer to understand, because web developers will follow this kind of notation. Okay. Why I am asking you to give like this? Because if you give, okay, if you give in this way also, it is legal. I am not saying that it is not legal. It is legal, but the problem here is the output will come something like this. So then it will look odd, and web developers who are the front-end developers will not be comfortable with this kind of notation. So that's why what I am saying, don't follow this, follow this. This is also legal, this is also legal, but we advise you to follow this. Okay. If you give space completely, it is illegal. Okay. So this is also legal, this is also legal, but we ask you to follow this notation. Is this clear, guys? Now, is this clear? Okay, fine then. Okay, write down this point, write down this point, write down this point. Done with this point? If you are done with this point, let me know. Okay, everybody note it down. Yes, capital will become small. Yeah. Note down this one. Completed. Once you are done with this one, let me know. Okay. Completed these two lines. Please complete these two lines. Once you're done with these two lines, let me know. Done? Okay. Now take down this one. If you write this one, you need to use like this. If you write this one in front of this, write down. This is recommended. Done? Done? Okay. Fine. Completed, right? Okay. Now, component HTML file. Okay. Every UI component must have a HTML file with the root tag template. Write down this point. Every UI component must have an HTML file with the root tag template. So inside HTML component, always you should start with the template, you should end with the template. Okay. Example, take down this one. Template starting, template ending. In between, you can write whatever you want. No, you noted down this example. Here, write down whatever you want. Hello world, hi, something you can write. Okay. Starting template, ending template. Inside this, whatever you want, you can write it inside. Next one. Every component must have a JavaScript file. We know that. If the component renders UI, the JavaScript file defines the HTML element. If the component is a service component, JavaScript file exports functionality for that components to use. JavaScript files in Lightning Web Components are ES6 modules. By default, everything declared in the module is local. It's scoped to the module. To import a class, function, or variable declared in a module, use the import statement. To allow other code to use a class, function, or variable declared in the module, use the export statement. So every Lightning Web component that you create will contain these two statements. Every Lightning Web component that you create will contain these two statements. One is import statement, another one is the export statement. The purpose of import statement is to clearly mention to the system stating that, okay, I am going to use lightning element from LWC module. Okay. So this code is already there in the system. Now you want to utilize that code which is present in the system. So that's why you are using import. And here export, what does this mean? Export default class, my component extends lightning element. You will write exactly this one. Here the only thing is, instead of my component, you will write your component name. It means what will happen? You are writing your code inside these two brackets and you are making your code visible or accessible in this Salesforce arc. So if you want to use the code provided by the system, you are using import. If you want your code to be available to the system, then you need to write export. Okay. Here, see, the core module in Lightning Web Components is LWC. The import statement imports Lightning element from the LWC module. LWC is the module and Lightning element we are importing. The import statement imports Lightning element from the LWC module. Lightning element is a custom wrapper of a standard HTML element. Extend Lightning element to create a JavaScript class for a Lightning web component. You cannot extend any other class to create a Lightning web component. It means it is saying that if you want to extend, then you need to write extend lightning element only. You cannot use any other word apart from this here in this export. So basically what you need to remember, inside your JavaScript file, definitely you should have these two lines. One is the import, second one is the export. In the import, every time this line is as it is, Xerox. Every time this line is the same, ditto to ditto. In every lightning component, this line will remain as it is. What will change? This line also will remain as it is. This line also will remain as it is. The only difference is, if today I am writing a new lightning component with the name sample1, that sample1 name will come here. If I am writing another lightning web component with the name sample2, that name will come here. So your lightning component name will come here in the place which I highlighted. Apart from that, remaining everything will remain same. Whatever JavaScript code that you want to write, that you will write inside these two brackets. Inside these two brackets, you will write the code that you are interested in for this particular lightning component. Okay. So for every lightning web component, you will have HTML, you will have JavaScript, you will have meta configuration file. So HTML, we understood that every lightning web component HTML file should start with a template key, should start with a template tag and should end with a template tag. Whatever you want to write, you can write it in between these two tags. And regarding the JavaScript file, it will contain definitely these two lines. One is the import, another one is the export. Import lightning element from LWC. Import lightning element from LWC. Okay. Next, export default class. Write down your component name extends lightning element. You cannot extend any other thing apart from lightning element. Okay. Write down this. Write down these two lines. Put the heading. This JavaScript file follows the naming convention. This one .js. That's it. And write down this as example. Okay. After this, write down this point. The naming convention that we are going to follow is Pascal case. Pascal case means every first word, first letter, whether it is first word, first letter, or second word, first letter, third word, first letter, any word, first letter should be capital. That is Pascal case. Camel case, first word, first letter is small. From second word onwards, every word, first letter capital. That is camel case. So here we are going to use the Pascal case notation. Write down this point. Write down this. JavaScript file can contain the components public API via public properties and methods annotated with @API. It can contain fields. It can contain event handlers. The JavaScript file can contain, write down these 3 points. UI component folders can include other JavaScript files in addition to the main JavaScript file. However, the code in these files is for the component's own use and cannot be shared. You need to understand that point, that if you want to include additional JavaScript files, yes, you can include them. But those components can be used for this component purpose only and not for sharing purpose. Okay. After writing these 3 points, write down this statement as well. Okay. Write down that. Completed. Okay. So the next one is component configuration file. Every component must have a configuration file. The configuration file defines the metadata values of the component, including supported tags and the design configuration of the Lightning App Builder and Experience Builder. The configuration file follows the naming convention. We know this. Name.js hyphen meta.xml. Okay. So this is the extension .js hyphen meta.xml. Okay. And here is the simplest configuration file. So by default, you will get the configuration file like this. If you don't include a configuration file for your component, you get an error similar to the following. When you push your changes, cannot find the Lightning component bundle. Okay. So without the configuration file, you cannot create a Lightning web component. So always you should have a Lightning web component only with this configuration file. Okay. Component configuration file, you put the heading. Okay. Name, you give the name like this. This is the name you need to give. This name, you can give component name or my component, that is fine. Okay. Give anything, either this one or this one. Any one is sufficient. Okay. .js hyphen meta.xml. Okay. And write down this code. This is the simplest configuration file. Later, we will make so many changes to this and all, we will come to know. Okay. Completed noting down this one? Okay. If you are still noting down, just a second, I will explain this also. You can note down both. Okay. So here what I am saying, this is the default configuration file I am saying. If I want my Lightning component to be available in the Lightning app builder, then what I need to do is exposed. I need to make it true. Master label, you can write something here. Description, you can write something here. Basically, you need to include targets. Inside the targets, target lightning underscore record page, lightning underscore app page, lightning underscore home page, and target configs. Inside target configs, okay, inside that target config, targets equal to lightning record page, property name, prop1, string, type string, objects, account opportunity warehouse, objects closed, target config closed, again target config open. Here, lightning app page, lightning home page, proper name, property to type boolean, target config. So using this, we can decide where I want to display my Lightning component, whether in Lightning experience or Lightning app or record page or home page or app page. So all these things I can use. So first of all, you note down this one. This is the basic version. And then this is the advanced version. You note down this one also. Okay. Let me give you an example then. Okay. One second. So I am on my Salesforce Lightning app. One second. Why it is taking time? Let me refresh this. Okay. Here, when I was creating a lightning component or a component at that time, when I was creating a lightning component or a component at that time, if I click on lightning component, where I want to use this component, if I don't check any of these things, then I can use this only in the lightning app. But if I check this, I can use this component inside lightning tab. If I check this, I can use this lightning component inside lightning page. If I check this, I can use this lightning component inside lightning record page. If I click this lightning experience, if I click this, it is allowed inside lightning quick action. If so, by just clicking this, what is happening inside the component, you are getting the code, right? Similarly, here what we are doing, similarly, if you don't check any checkbox, what there will be nothing, right? Similarly, here this is the default. But if you want to include that in the lightning record page, app page, home page, then this is how you need to write. That's it. Is it clear now? When you compare, is it clear now? What we are doing in the lightning component, what we are doing in the LWC. In LWC, instead of checking that checkbox, you need to write like this. Clear? Okay. So first complete this one and then write down this one or note down this one. Okay, this one everyone completed. Previous one, write down. If you have not noted down, please write down this one as well.